Have you ever wondered why accuracy and precision matter so much in scientific studies? Well, to answer that question, we're going to unfold the mystery of some key scientific terms. We're talking accuracy, precision, repeatability, reproducibility, true value, and validity. These terms may sound complex, but don't worry, we'll break them down. Let's start with accuracy. Picture this, you're playing darts. If you consistently hit the bullseye, you're accurate. Accuracy in science is similar. It relates to how close a measurement is to the true value of what we're trying to measure. It's not quantifiable, but can be described as more or less accurate. Moving on to precision. Remember that game of darts? Now, if you're consistently hitting the same spot, even if it's not the bullseye, you're precise. In scientific terms, precision refers to how closely a set of measurement values agree with each other. It doesn't tell us how close the measurements are to the true value. That's a separate consideration to accuracy. Next up, repeatability and reproducibility, two terms that sometimes get mixed up. Repeatability is about the agreement between successive measurements of the same thing, carried out under identical conditions. Reproducibility, on the other hand, refers to the agreement between measurements of the same thing, but under changed conditions. Now let's talk about true value. It's the value we would get if we could measure something perfectly. And lastly, we have validity. A measurement is valid if it measures what it's supposed to. In psychological studies, validity refers to how well the study's results represent true findings among similar individuals outside of the study. Why are these terms so crucial, you ask? Because they help ensure that our scientific and psychological findings are reliable and credible. So the next time you read a scientific study, you'll know what to look out for. Stay tuned as we delve into each of these terms one by one and unravel their meanings. So, what exactly is accuracy in scientific research? Well, let's say you're trying to hit the bullseye on a dartboard. If your darts land smack dab in the center each time, you're showcasing accuracy. In the realm of science, accuracy refers to how close a measurement is to the true value of the quantity being measured. Just like hitting the bullseye, accurate measurements are right on target, closely aligning with the true value. Remember though, accuracy doesn't come with a scale or a ruler. We describe measurements as more or less accurate, not in exact figures. Now let's talk about precision. Imagine you're throwing darts again, but this time, your darts are landing consistently in the same spot, just not on the bullseye. That's precision. In science, precision is all about consistency. It's how closely a set of measurements agree with each other. Even if your measurements aren't hitting the bullseye, that is, they aren't accurate, they can still be precise if they consistently land in the same area. It's crucial to understand that precision doesn't tell us how close the measurements are to the true value, making it different from accuracy. Precision is like a well-rehearsed dance routine where all the steps align perfectly each time, but accuracy is like hitting the perfect note in a musical performance. In the grand orchestra of scientific research, we need both accuracy and precision to create a harmonious symphony of reliable data. They are the twin pillars that uphold the integrity of our measurements, ensuring that our conclusions are not just educated guesses, but are grounded in consistent and true findings. So there you have it. Accuracy is about hitting the bullseye, getting as close to the true value as possible. Precision, on the other hand, is about consistency, ensuring that your measurements closely align with each other, even if they aren't hitting the bullseye. Now that we understand accuracy and precision, let's move on to repeatability and reproducibility. Ever heard of the terms repeatability and reproducibility in scientific studies? Well, these two are key components when it comes to ensuring the reliability of data and measurements. Let's delve into what they mean. Imagine you're trying to shoot a basketball into a hoop. If you're able to make the same shot from the same spot multiple times, that's repeatability. In scientific terms, repeatability refers to the closeness of agreement between results of successive measurements of the same quantity being measured, carried out under the same conditions. That includes the same observer, the same procedure, the same instrument, and the same location, all within a short period of time. Reproducibility, on the other hand, is like being able to make that same basketball shot, but this time under different conditions. Maybe you're now using a different ball, or you're shooting from a different location, or perhaps it's a different person making the shot. In the realm of science, reproducibility refers to the closeness of agreement between measurements of the same quantity, but carried out under changed conditions. These changes could involve a different method, a different observer, a different instrument, or a different location, among other variables. So, why are these two concepts important? Well, they are crucial for establishing the reliability of scientific findings. If a result is repeatable, it suggests that the measurement is reliable under the same conditions. If it's reproducible, it indicates that the finding holds true even when conditions change. This lends credibility to scientific results, as it shows that they aren't just one-off occurrences or due to specific conditions. Remember, science is all about getting to the truth, and these concepts of repeatability and reproducibility help ensure that the truth we find is not just a fluke, but something we can count on, something that remains consistent no matter how many times we measure or under what conditions. With repeatability and reproducibility explained, it's time to explore the true value. What do scientists mean when they talk about the true value in a study? Well, let's dive into it. The term true value is like the ultimate goal of a treasure hunt. It's the exact value that we would find if our measurements were absolutely perfect. But since we live in reality and not a perfect world, there's always some degree of uncertainty in our measurements. So in essence, the true value is our best estimate of what the reality is based on our measurements. Now let's move on to validity. Validity is a term that gets thrown around a lot, especially in the realm of psychological research. But what does it mean? Simply put, a measurement is said to be valid if it measures what it's supposed to measure. Let's consider a real-world example to make this more relatable. Imagine you're a researcher studying the effects of sleep on cognition. You decide to measure the participants' cognitive abilities using a math test. But is a math test a valid measure of cognition? Well, it could be. But it might also be measuring other things like math skills or test-taking abilities. So, the validity of your measure, the math test, would be questionable. Furthermore, in psychological research, we often talk about two types of validity: internal and external. Internal validity refers to whether the study accurately investigates what it sets out to investigate. It considers factors like the design of the study, the sampling techniques, and the impact of extraneous variables. On the other hand, external validity refers to whether the results of the study can be applied to similar individuals in different settings. It's about the generalizability of the study's findings. So, in our sleep study, if we found that a lack of sleep affects cognition in our participants, the external validity would determine whether we could apply these findings to other people in different environments. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Let's wrap things up. So why do these terms matter so much in scientific and psychological studies, you may ask? Well, each term plays a vital role in interpreting the data and results from scientific studies accurately and effectively. Let's do a quick recap. Accuracy refers to how close a measurement is to the true value. It's about hitting the bullseye, getting as close to the truth as possible. Precision, on the other hand, is about consistency. Are your measurements in agreement with each other? Remember, you can be precise without being accurate, but the goal is to achieve both. Then we have repeatability and reproducibility. Both of these terms deal with the consistency of results. Repeatability is about getting the same results under the same conditions, while reproducibility is about achieving similar results under changed conditions. These two terms help ensure the reliability of the study. True value is the golden standard, the ideal we aim for. It's the value we would get if we could measure perfectly. But since perfection is often out of reach, we use terms like accuracy and precision to get as close to this true value as we can. Finally, there's validity. This term is all about relevance. Does the measurement measure what it's supposed to measure? Is the investigation internally valid, meaning does it investigate what it claims to investigate? Is it externally valid, meaning can the results be applied to similar individuals in a different setting? All these terms, accuracy, precision, repeatability, reproducibility, true value, and validity, are essential tools in the scientific toolkit. They help us conduct and interpret scientific studies, and without them, we would struggle to understand the world around us. So, there you have it. A quick tour through some of the key terms in scientific and psychological studies. Remember, understanding these terms is a step towards better comprehension of scientific research. Thanks for joining us today. Remember to stay curious.